2022 Queen Elizabeth II of the United Kingdom dies at Balmoral Castle in Scotland after reigning for 70 years. Her son Charles, Prince of Wales, ascends the throne upon her death as Charles III. 2022 Australian Stephanie Gilmore wins her 8th World Surfing title at Lower Trestles, California, making her the most successful women's champion in history. 2016 NASA launches OSIRIS-REx, its first asteroid sample return mission. The probe will visit 101955 Bennu and is expected to return with samples in 2023. 2005 two Ilyushin Il-76 aircraft from EMACOM land at a disaster aid staging area at Little Rock Air Force Base, the first time Russia has flown such a mission to North America. 2004 NASA's uncrewed spacecraft Genesis crash lands when its parachute fails to open. 1988 Javier Sotomayer of Cuba high jumps world record 2.43 m. The 2.44 m record was set the following year in San Juan, Puerto Rico. In 1993 he would reach, again in Salamanca, the 2.45 m, a world record that remains still untouched. 1988 Yellowstone National Park is closed for the first time in U.S. history due to ongoing fires. 1979 U.S. Open Women's Tennis. Tracy becomes youngest U.S. champion, 16 years, 9 months, beats Chris Evert 6-4, 6-3. 1978 Black Friday, a massacre by soldiers against protesters in Tehran, results in 88 deaths. It marks the beginning of the end of the monarchy in Iran. 1974 Watergate scandal. U.S. President Gerald signs the pardon of Richard Nixon for any crimes Nixon may have committed while in office. 1971 in Washington, D.C., the John F. Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts is inaugurated, with the opening feature being the premiere of Leonard Bernstein's Mass. 1966 The landmark American science fiction television series Star Trek premieres with its first aired episode, The Man Trap. 1963 Scottish Lotus driver Jim Clark wins the Italian Grand Prix at Monza to clinch his first F1 World Drivers' Championship. 1962 Last run of the famous Pines Express over the Somerset and Dorset Railway Line, UK, fittingly using the last steam locomotive built by British Railways, BR Standard Class 9 F92220 Evening Star. 1957 Juan Manuel Fangio confirms his F1 World Drivers' Championship, finishing second in the season-ending Italian GP at Monza, takes record 5th title by 15 points from Sterling Moss. 1954 The Southeast Asia Treaty Organization, SEATO, is established. The purpose of the organization was to prevent communism from gaining ground in the region. 1945 The division of Korea begins when United States troops arrive to partition the southern part of Korea in response to Soviet troops occupying the northern part of the peninsula a month earlier. 1944 World War II. London is hit by a V-2 rocket for the first time. Over the next few months, nearly 1,400 struck London. 1943 World War II. The Armistice of Cassibile is proclaimed by radio. Sud immediately implements plans to disarm the Italian forces. 1941 World War II. German forces closed in around the Soviet city of Leningrad, initiating a siege that would last nearly 900 days and claim the lives of 800,000 civilians. 1935 U.S. Senator from Louisiana Huey Long is fatally shot in the Louisiana State Capitol building. Long was an extremely popular and influential politician at the time, and his death eliminated a possible 1936 presidential bid against incumbent Franklin D. Roosevelt. 1933 Ghazi bin Faisal became king of Iraq. On the same day, Ghazi was appointed an admiral of the fleet in the Royal Iraqi Navy, a field marshal in the Royal Iraqi Army, and a marshal of the Royal Iraqi Air Force. 1925 Rif War. Spanish forces including troops from the Foreign Legion under Colonel Francisco Franco landing at Al Hoceima, Morocco. 1923 Honda Point disaster. 9 U.S. Navy destroyers run aground off the California coast. 7 are lost, and 23 sailors killed. 1921 Margaret Gorman, a 16-year-old, wins the Atlantic City pageant's Golden Mermaid Trophy. Pageant officials later dubbed her the first Miss America. 1916 In a bid to prove that women were capable of serving as military dispatch riders, Augusta and Adeline Van Buren arrive in Los Angeles, completing a 60-day, 5,500-mile cross-country trip on motorcycles. 1894 Employed by Thomas Edison, William K. L. Dixon films first boxing match at West Orange, New Jersey, an exhibition between world heavyweight champion James J. Corbett and Peter Courtney. 1888 In London, the body of Jack the Ripper's second murder victim, Annie Chapman, is found. 1888 Isaac Pearl's submarine is first tested. Pearl was the first electric battery-powered submarine, built by the Spanish engineer and sailor Isaac Pearl for the Spanish Navy. 1863 American Civil War. In the Second Battle of Sabine Pass, a small Confederate force thwarts a Union invasion of Texas. 1862 Millennium of Russia monument is unveiled in Novgorod. 1855 Crimean War. The French assault the Tower of Malakoff, leading to the capture of Sevastopol. 1831 William IV and Adelaide of Saxe-Meiningen are crowned King and Queen of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Ireland. 1813 At the final stage of the Peninsular War, British-Portuguese troops capture the town of Donostia, now San Sebastián, resulting in a rampage and eventual destruction of the town. 1810 The Tonquin sets sail from New York Harbor with 33 employees of John Jacob Astor's newly created Pacific Fur Company on board. After a 6-month journey around the tip of South America, the ship arrives at the mouth of the Columbia River and Astor's men establish the fur trading town of Astoria, Oregon. 1796 French Revolutionary Wars, Battle of Bassano. French forces defeat Austrian troops at Bassano del Grappa. 1793 French Revolutionary Wars, Battle of Honshet. It resulted in a French victory under General Jean-Nicolas Houchard and General Jean-Baptiste Jourdan against the command of Marshal Freytag, part of the Anglo-Hanoverian Corps of the Duke of York. 1781 American Revolutionary War. The Battle of Eutaw Springs in South Carolina, the war's last significant battle in the Southern Theater, ends in a narrow British tactical victory. 1761 Marriage of King George III of the United Kingdom to Duchess Charlotte of Mecklenburg-Strelitz. The ceremony was performed at the Chapel Royal, St. James's Palace, by the Archbishop of Canterbury, Thomas Secker. 1760 French and Indian War. French surrender Montreal to the British, completing the latter's conquest of New France. 1756 French and Indian War. Kittanning Expedition was a raid during the French and Indian War that led to the destruction of the American Indian village of Kittanning. 1755 French and Indian War, Battle of Lake George. It was part of a campaign by the British to expel the French from North America. 1565 St. Augustine, Florida is founded by Spanish admiral and Florida's first governor, Pedro Menéndez de Avilés. 1522 Magellan Elcano circumnavigation. Victoria arrives at Seville, technically completing the first circumnavigation. 1514 Battle of Orsha. In one of the biggest battles of the century, Lithuanians and Poles defeat the Russian army. 1504 Michelangelo's David is unveiled in Piazza della Signoria in Florence. The sculpture, hewn from a colossal block of marble, had occupied Michelangelo for almost 3 years after he took over the commission from Agostino di Duccio. 1380 Battle of Kulikovo. Russian forces defeat a mixed army of Tatars and Mongols, stopping their advance. 1264 The Statute of Kalish, guaranteeing Jews' safety and personal liberties and giving Bate Din jurisdiction over Jewish matters, is promulgated by Boleslaw the Pious, Duke of Greater Poland.